Leslie here, another week of parenting paused. And this week, I have been thinking about how we have this possibility to reimagine the way we parent. Now, our imaginations are so incredible, right? We can imagine the future. We can imagine all these things that are going to happen. And yet, what if we reimagine staying connected and being intimate with the moment? Yes, this is such an incredibly hard one because our imaginations are so fertile. They're so big. The more creative you are, the more you can imagine what's going to happen in the future. Instead of staying with where we are in the moment, staying with where our child is in the moment, and then being willing to meet that moment, even when it's intense, even when we're emotionally triggered, to take our pause, take our responsibility for whatever's going on inside, and to give ourselves the kindness inside so that we can show up with our child, with our partners, with anyone, without projecting our imagination or our idea about who they are, how they are, what they're doing, how they're trying to be. Yes, so slow everything down. This has been the biggest piece that I learned in my parenting and in all my relationships, because of course I get emotionally triggered. I know you get emotionally triggered. I have all this history. You have this history. And yet, if we're willing to receive that moment, let's take a moment like your kid is not listening to you, or your kid won't do what you ask them to do. And in that moment, maybe you have heat that rises up. Maybe there's intensity that comes up in your body really big. And maybe you act out. Maybe you yell at your kid. Maybe you see your kid as lazy, resistant, and then you project onto them that means that in the future, they're not going to be able to get a job. They're not going to be able to work. They won't be able to listen to authority. All these things happen in that split second of our projection onto the other, right? And when that happens, we have left working with ourselves in that intimate moment, taking that breath, not taking anything so personally, and recognizing our part and our responsibility to attend to ourselves with such deep kindness. This is the hardest part, to truly hold ourselves in such loving kindness of our innocence, of our desire to do well, of our desire to collaborate and cooperate with our children. And yet, when it doesn't turn out the way we think it is supposed to, our imaginations can take us to the moon. I don't know about you, but I remembered so many times with my daughter, I would imagine if she wasn't doing something, then I would imagine a future where she was never going to have a job, as I say, or she was going to get in trouble, or she was going to be addicted. My imagination was my escape. And instead of being with the discomfort of really being in that moment, it was so much easier to escape. Unfortunately, the imagination projected again onto my daughter when she was 4, all these ways that she was going to be when she was 24. Now, I've got a 23-year-old daughter now, and I'm telling you, all my imaginations were just imaginations. They weren't reality. So play with working with this. Can I show up for my discomfort in the moment, work with it in my safe seat, however I do, and then show back up in that present moment, seeing the needs of the other, seeing my needs, and attending to that moment without thinking that it means anything, I mean anything at all, about the future. All right, loves, I hope you have a beautiful week this week. check us out at purejoyparenting.com to get a copy of the free safe seat process so you can start sitting in your safe seat, taking that responsibility, loving on yourself with kindness, and loving on your kids. Thank you for listening to this episode of Parenting Paused. If you enjoyed the episode, do me a favor and share it with your mama friends. You can also leave a review wherever you listen, which will support getting the Pure Joy message out. Come on over to the Pure Joy Parenting Practice Facebook page or join me on Instagram to hear more. And don't forget to download your free copy of the Safe Seat course on the Pure Joy website. And while there, check out the offerings page to go deeper in the Pure Joy work.